Star Wars just officially revealed Project Luminous as being set in the High Republic era. This proves a lot of the rumors and the reports that had been coming out about the High Republic correct, but it also proved a few of them incorrect. Let's break it all down. What's up, everybody? It's Josh. Welcome back to the channel. Do me a favor and blast that like button like a freaking Death Star, and let's get right into breaking down the High Republic. Project Luminous was officially revealed last night on StarWars.com for the public, but also during a closed-door presentation with the press. We got our first look at the design, settings, and conflict that will make up this singular story told over various pieces of media that is now referred to as the High Republic. And as I said at the top of the video, a lot of this just proves stuff that we were already talking about here on the channel. A lot of the scoopers out there, the people breaking news about this, had been correct, but there was a few things that were in reports and rumors and leaks that were actually proven incorrect by the official announcement last night. So let's go through it all. Let's go through some of the stuff that was disproven. Let's go through some of the stuff that was proven, and let's speculate about what it all means from here. I think the biggest difference between the official information out there about the High Republic and all of the rumors and leaks and reports that had come out about what the High Republic was going to be is the time period. Many of the leaks, and I believe this all links back to the Zero.uk article that first broke about this Star Wars MCU that is coming. Yeah, they had originally reported that this was going to be set 300 to 400 years before the Phantom Menace, that was what the High Republic era was going to be. But last night, StarWars.com announced it's going to be 200 years before the Phantom Menace, which is interesting, way closer to the prequels than I had thought, and my first thought was immediately, holy crap, Plagueis could be a player in this story. Because in Legends, Plagueis was a Mun. Muns can live for a long, long time. And so it is possible that we see Plagueis hiding in the shadows doing Sith-y things. Another piece of information that was not in the reports that we've been talking about prior was the fact that this is just the first phase of the High Republic and of the Project Luminous story. This first phase is referred to as Light of the Jedi, and it officially kicks off with a Charles Soule novel called Light of the Jedi, which will come out 2 days before Star Wars Celebration in August of this year. A ton of other publishers and possibly even media from other mediums will be involved in Phase 2 and beyond of Project Luminous or the High Republic story. We also learned last night that the Jedi are described as Knights of the Round Table. There will also be Jedi that peruse or patrol the borders of the growing Republic. They're described as sort of Texas Rangers. Now, much of this was already explained in the leaks and reports. We kind of knew what to expect, but I still felt like the reveal of this and the artwork was phenomenal. I am very impressed with all of the different concept art, covers, things like that coming out officially for the High Republic. It looks really cool to me. Another thing that was not in the leaks and reports prior was the main villain of this High Republic era. They are a group known as the Nile. They are described as space Vikings and will apparently be very different than the Empire. They're kind of like pirates, and even though they all work together, they are very selfish, and they also are working for themselves. And so I think it's going to be way more interesting than just a singular group of bad guys that all answer to one dude. That's very drone-like, and the idea of bringing in the Nile is pretty interesting. You could have all kinds of different flavor, competing figureheads within the Nile that might even have civil wars or internal conflicts. It all seems really cool to me. There was also this mention of the impetus for this project, and it all had to do with a question about what scares the Jedi. And I believe that idea will play a role in the macro story of all of the different phases of this High Republic Project Luminous thing that will actually have an ultimate end. Now, we had heard mention from the Zero.uk article that there were going to be these ancient dark side beings, something like a Sith god, in this High Republic era. Nothing about them was mentioned last night in the official reveal, but I still tend to believe that article, as most of what was in it was proven to be correct in the official announcement. And so these Sith gods likely play a role in this what scares the Jedi question, and I think they'll have something to do with this overarching macro story. There was mention of a lot of new stuff. They want to do stuff that's never been seen before in Star Wars ever. They're trying to break some new ground. There was also mention of an actual ending, and this seemed to be something people picked up on from the video, different things written on the whiteboard and different things mentioned that make us believe that there will be an actual ending of significance to the High Republic story, which will likely take, time over these phases, but that actual ending will be impactful. It'll have an impact on the prequels. It'll have an impact on the larger Star Wars canon, potentially even setting stuff up for the future of Star Wars post Episode 9 if they look to go to that era next. Now, the next obvious question that people are asking is, what does this have to do with the movies? Is this the future for television, Disney Plus shows as well? Is this really going to be the era from which we draw all Star Wars content for the next foreseeable future? And it's important to note that a lot of the Project Luminous people have shied away from that and also just said flat out no, that they're saying that they're not connecting to movies at all. There's no video game stuff. They've been very hardline in trying to push against that idea. Now, what I think is going on is that the Project Luminous story, which again, I told you had an impetus, had a lot of work done, and is working towards an actual ending. That story is all going to take place over various publishing mediums, but it will ultimately end within those publishing mediums, okay? And so what I think that means is there will not be a film tie-in within that overarching story of Project Luminous or the High Republic. That's not what they're going to do. And so therefore they feel very comfortable saying, we're not tying into movies. We're not tying into video games. This is just publishing, right? But at the end of the day, from what I know, is this idea that this is all spinning out of world building that was done in conjunction with the Dan and Dave project, the series of films that they wanted to do. That is still, in some sense, being worked on, okay? And so all of this is spinning out of the same world building, but yes, Project Luminous is going to be its own thing in which these writers were given a lot of freedom to create within this world that is, again, all spinning out of this world building that was done. Like, I hope that makes sense, and I'm not saying there couldn't be a video game developed in the High Republic era. In fact, I'm damn sure there will be one, but I don't know if it's going to be a thing that was developed with these writers and this story that they're telling. I think there's a lot of focus on this macro story being told that has an actual ending. But I think that it's possible that Lucasfilm gets an idea or a pitch from a video game company, and then what they do is say, okay, how about you work that within the High Republic era? Here's what we're working on. Here's the new canon of this era. That's what I think is going on. I also think if there's something being developed like this other movie that people are talking about with that science fiction writer, and it might be on Disney Plus or on the silver screen, I'm thinking that film, if it was pitched and if it's being worked on, is likely being worked on within the High Republic era. Now, we're getting into like pretty speculative territory here, but I also think that it's possible we're still going to be getting some Old Republic stuff coming out in the next couple of years with either Star Wars video games, some comic books or novels, or even a movie or Disney Plus series. Because as I talked about before in the Star Wars MCU announcement video breakdown thing that Alex and I did, the fact is the High Republic is the Old Republic. It's a certain part of the Old Republic. It's a specific part of the Old Republic, and it's something we haven't seen explored much, even in Legends. However, it is still technically the Old Republic. It will have tie-ins to things that happen way later than that. It is possible that Disney is looking to explore a much wider time period than just 200 years before the prequels, and that whole time period could be referred to as the Old Republic, and it could include the High Republic. I know that might be confusing, and I hope I'm not losing people with this idea here, but I'm just trying to clarify what I think is going on, why I think certain people are saying what they're saying, mostly the Project Luminous people. Like, they're basically refusing to admit that there's any tie-ins to movies when it comes to Luminous, any tie-ins to video games, any of the stuff that we're talking about when we talk about the Star Wars MCU, that idea, right? But I think the reason they are saying that is because they're referring to their singular story, that although it's multimedia, it is a singular story that they developed. That story will be told, and we will get an actual ending to it, and there will not be any tie-ins within that story with movies or video games. At least I think. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're speculating about. And of course, I'm going to try to find out more information about this. There will be a video likely about this on the channel on Star Wars Sunday. And to be honest with you, we're going to be covering the crap out of the High Republic here. I'm going to read all of these novels. I'm very excited. I know not everybody's super pumped about this. I know some people just have lost faith in Disney and lost faith in Star Wars. I get it. I get you. I understand. But for me personally, I'm very excited. And I really think they're trying to learn lessons from the mistakes they made in this first wave of Disney Star Wars. I'm ready. I'm excited. And so we'll be covering it here on the channel. But of course, let me know your thoughts about the High Republic, this new thing that Star Wars is trying, the different things you've been hearing. And of course, if you're all pissed about it and bummed and you think it's going to bomb terribly, feel free to let those thoughts be known in the comment section below. And now let's shout out Kai L027. Yes, indeed, Sheevy Palpatine grew up on Naboo. So shout out to you, Kai. And now let's ask another nerd card question before we get out of here. I want to know how deeply you've been diving on all the details when it comes to the High Republic. What is the name of the blonde woman Jedi on the cover of the new Charles Soule Cumming novel? She's smack dab in the middle of the cover of Light of the Jedi, and yes, her real name has been mentioned. What is her real name? Answer that question in the comments section below. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.